So with the stock market going through the roof recently, you might be feeling a lot of FOMO. And while some stocks are still worth buying into even after they've risen so much, some stocks you just have to accept that you've just missed it and it is what it is. But I made this video to show you that you're not alone and to share some of my own missed opportunities in hopes of making you feel better. Because as traders and investors, no one ever asks us how we feel. So let's dive right into it. I'm gonna start with the lowest gain that I've missed out on and end with the largest. So the first one that I'm actually kind of proud of myself about realizing it, even though I missed out on it, I still kind of feel like at least the thought was there, is LNG or Cheniere Energy. So around the final quarter of 2020 during the pandemic, I had learned about liquid natural gas, and from the first time I heard about it, I thought that, wow, this is such a good idea. Like, it's like using the wasted natural gas, liquidating it and using it as a whole other fuel, and apparently it was still like a kind of new thing. So I thought that, wow, this is gonna be huge. But at that time I had actually not started investing yet, but I had started investing just like maybe months after I learned about that, like maybe literally like 3 months after that. So I asked on a group that I was in that, does anyone know a good stock for liquid natural gas? And someone on the group said, yeah, there's LNG, and there was a couple others, but LNG seemed to be the main one. And I thought, oh, that's great, you know, I should buy into this. And then I don't know why I didn't buy into it, and at that time it was maybe like $65 or something like that, and I didn't buy into it, and then it flew up eventually to like $99, and then I thought, yeah, I should have bought into this, should I buy into it now? And then I still didn't buy into it, and then it continued and went up to like $175, and of course by then I was like, okay, this is too late, I've missed this. Then it went down eventually, and it's now around $150, which it's still around 136% up, and at its peak it was around 175% up, and until now I've never bought into it or benefited from that thought I had or whatever, but it is what it is. The next stock on the list is SMCI, Supermicro Computer Inc. So people on a group that I'm in have been talking about SMCI for like months now, and I kept seeing it, and I saw that everyone seemed pretty excited about it and everything, but I was simply just too lazy to like look into it or read about it or do anything. Before I knew it, it went up from like $200-300 to like $1,300 in the span of like a couple months or something. So you could say I missed out on like a 250, 300, 400% gain that I could have got on that. And in a matter of just like a couple months I could have got that. I did eventually buy into it, like very late after it already boomed and everything. I was up like 25% like the next day or in the next couple of days, and then it went down into a little loss, and I had put a stop loss because I knew I'm buying really high and I've been burnt on chasing stocks before. So I got stopped out half my position, although it was a very small position, so it's not a big deal. I know that it's too late, but I thought I'll just buy some anyway because I don't know what's going on with this. Until now, honestly, I don't even know much about the company. I literally just bought it because I just saw what happened with it. Until now, I do still have a very, very small position in it, and it's currently at a small gain, like 1% or something like that. Overall, I've lost in it because I got stopped out and it took out whatever percent that was. The next one, which is a pretty big jump, is Nvidia. Yes, Nvidia. I don't know how I didn't buy it in 2021 when everyone was talking about it and everything. I just saw Nvidia and AMD as like these semiconductor stocks that are anyway like too high, and I don't know, I'm not gonna like buy them, and I don't know much about them and whatever. I was not really showing much interest in Nvidia because in my head, all I knew about Nvidia was the Nvidia chip in those laptops that are like for gaming and stuff like that. I would just connect it to Intel in my head, and I just felt like, oh, these are like outdated companies and whatever. If I'm not mistaken, I think Intel has also done pretty well recently. Buying Nvidia in like 2021 or whatever would have given me a gain of like 800-900% or something like that. However, I still did buy it at around $400-ish and then averaged up here and there like much later on, like basically like this year, or no, it was like a few months ago or something, maybe last year, towards the end of last year. So I am currently up like I think 60% in it or something. I mean, that's nothing compared to like 900%. Although to be honest, AMD and Nvidia were being talked about at a similar level. AMD did like maybe 10% of what Nvidia did. Like buying Nvidia in 2021 would get me up like 90%, while Nvidia went up 900%. Like, I don't think many people would have seen that big of a jump coming. Like, that's a pretty extreme jump. But yeah, it does seem like Nvidia has a pretty bright future ahead of it, and it is seeming to lead the market in what it does. And last but not least, before we conclude this video and talk about my thoughts and how I feel about this and how you could also maybe feel better, I have to mention the biggest missing out I've had, which is Bitcoin. I actually first heard about Bitcoin in like 2017 from a friend. He was saying that we should buy Bitcoin mining machines and mine Bitcoin and stuff like that. I was interested, and at that time I was like in high school in A-levels. When I looked up how much a Bitcoin mining machine is, and I saw that it was for like $1,000, and I was just like, yeah, I don't really have $1,000, and it's some random machine, and my friend is just saying I have no proper like reason to actually buy this and expect anything to come out of it. And at that time Bitcoin was like $2,500 or $1,000 or something like that. And then soon after that, when I was in uni, it went up to like 7,000 or 15,000 or something like that. Just when I was feeling sad that I didn't buy any, it like crashed to like, I think from 15 to like 8,000, and I thought, oh yeah, that was it. It was just some like fake thing and it's not gonna last. Look where we are now. It's at like 70,000. I mean, who would have thought, right? But one thing that my religion teaches me actually, which is Islam, is to not say if, because you don't know what would have really happened if you had done something. I mean, you might not agree, or you might think this might not make sense to you, but this is how I see it, that when you say like, oh, if I did this, I would have been more successful, or I would have done better, you don't know what would have happened. Maybe you would have bought this and not done something else with the money that could have maybe led you in a better way. Maybe you would have missed out on meeting some people. Maybe you would have missed out on some other opportunities. Maybe you would have got rich and then got rich too quickly and messed up your life or something. Like, you don't know what could have happened. So for anyone who's out there like regretting their life because they didn't buy something when it was like really low and become like a billionaire now or something, first of all, you might have even bought Bitcoin at like 10,000 and then sold at 8,000. Like, you don't know what would have happened. You don't know when you would have sold. You don't know if you would have held through to gain like 900%. And Bitcoin, by the way, from 2017 to now, it's like 27,000% or something. So it's pretty crazy. But you're not alone. We all miss out on opportunities, and the great thing is that there's always new opportunities coming up. For example, as I've talked about in some of my other videos, while I missed out on all these opportunities I've listed, I haven't so far missed out on Rolls-Royce, for example. If you've missed out on Rolls-Royce, I don't think it's too late yet. There will still be other things on the way. There's always new emerging industries. AI is still rapidly growing. There's still many things going on. So keep going, do whatever you think is right, go with the flow. There are people who buy something really early, make tons of money, and then they think they're geniuses, and then they'll repeat with something else and go like all in on it or something, or make silly investments because they just think they've like hacked the world or something, and then they lose all the money. So you don't know what would have happened. No need to dwell on it, you know, just keep learning, keep going. Most importantly, nothing in this video is financial advice. I didn't really advise anything anyway. I was just telling, but in case, and maybe next time I'll talk about the best opportunities that I took advantage of. So I'll see you next week. Bye bye.